Let's begin today's Vanguard news with a promo card and monthly Bushido despite ending publication on April. Gap jumping gear goat while on rear guard. Lets you pay 1 soul blast when it attacks, while you have a gear dragon Vanguard, to get 5k power. And while on rear guard, you can pay 3 energy blast, and putting itself to the bottom of your deck at the end of the battle it attacked, while you have a gear dragon Vanguard, to draw a card, then either return up to one of your rear guards or one card in your bind zone to the bottom of your deck. While technically a support for time stamping dragon, expect everyone to use this in Chronojet dragon instead, to actually have an early game unit. Calling all Pale Moon players, specifically all you Nightmare Doll connoisseurs, Bushido just made those random Direful doll cards into an actual deck, so you can play with your dolls again for standard and easy BT01. Direful Doll Tonia is your typical D-series starter that doesn't look like a doll until you see the ball joints on her knees. Direful Doll Selenala, when ridden over by Direful Doll Griselda, lets you put up to 2 Direful Doll cards from the top 7 cards of your deck into your soul. And while on rear guard, you can have her get 5k power when she attacks or boost, while you have a grade 3 or higher Direful Doll Vanguard. But she gets bound at the end of the battle you use this effect. Expect Brainwash Swirler and Gungram to suddenly skyrocket in price, as speculators will say that those two will be the only way to soul charge on your grade 1 ride turn. Direful Doll Griselda, when ridden over by a grade 3 Direful Doll card, makes you call her to rear guard. And when she's placed on rear guard, you can put a Direful Doll from your hand into your soul, if you have a Direful Doll Vanguard, to draw a card, then give herself and your Vanguard 5k power. Not only does she replace the card you discarded for your ride, but she also fills back a soul and gets you a draw. This is probably one of the better ride line units in Dark States despite the subnation restrictions. Direful Doll Master and rolled once per turn while on Vanguard, lets you pay 1 counter blast to call Workeroids or Direful Doll cards from your soul up to your opponent's Vanguard's grade, then this unit gets an extra drive check if you called 3 or more with this ability. And while on Vanguard, you can call up to 1 Workeroid or Direful Doll card from your bind zone to the Guardian Circle when he will be attacked. Lukewear players are going to get pissed that their waifu just got upstaged by Discount Edward Scissorhands, since it's an outright improved version of her skill. Eek is going to have a field day in the comments. On a side note, you can call up to 10 units if your opponent was Griffo Gilla. Direful Doll Liberator, when placed on rear guard or put on the Guardian Circle, makes you put a Direful Doll card in your drop zone into your soul if you have a grade 3 or higher Direful Doll Vanguard. And while on rear guard, you can have her get 10k power when she attacks, while you have a grade 3 or higher Direful Doll Vanguard. But she gets bound at the end of the battle you use this effect, then you can pay 1 counter blast to draw a card. This is just an upgraded version of Selenala, and it's surprisingly just a rare. Direful Doll Pelagia, while on rear guard, lets you bind herself at the end of the battle she boosted, while you have a Direful Doll Vanguard, to put up to 2 Direful Doll cards in your drop zone into your soul. And while on the Guardian Circle, she gets 5k shields if you have a Direful Doll Vanguard. Not only does she put discarded Direful Dolls during the early game into your soul, but she sets herself up to become a free 10k shield. Now this is what I call a literal cycle card. Direful Doll Profidenka, while on rear guard, gets 10k power when she attacks a grade 3 or higher unit, while you have a grade 3 or higher Direful Doll Vanguard. And while on rear guard, you can pay 3 energy blast and binding herself at the end of the battle she attacked, while you have a grade 3 or higher Direful Doll Vanguard, to call a Workeroid or Direful Doll card with a different name than her from your soul. With just a Persona ride alone, this card can push for 30k power all by herself. Fitting that the card that will enable the deck to perform a 4th and 5th attack would be double rare. Finally, Dragrita Foulhead, when put on the Guardian Circle or discarded while riding from your eye deck, lets you pay either 1 counter or 3 energy blast to draw a card. And when he's placed on rear guard, you can pay either 1 counter or 3 energy blast if you Persona Road this turn, to call a grade 1 unit that isn't a sentinel from your drop zone. No wonder they snuck this in Direful Dolls reveals. In the right hands this card has so much potential. Like we English players still haven't gotten Stealth Fiend Shenri, yet Bushido just gave Dragon Empire players a way to revive her. And that concludes this Vanguard news without the bullshit. Special thanks to my Patreon members. I'm beginning to prefer this form of monetization assuming I get more members. Be sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments if the vanilla heel triggered Direful Alexandra suddenly became $5.